An officer and 5 soldiers of the Nigerian army are feared to have been killed in Borno State following an attack on their gun truck by suspected insurgents on Wednesday evening. It was gathered that the incident occurred after troops engaged terrorists in a gun battle in Jakana village, located on the Maiduguri-Damaturu Expressway, the only open route linking Borno to other parts of the country. The spokesperson of Operation Lafia Dole, Colonel Ado Issa, confirmed the attack to Channels Television, but maintained that troops successfully repelled the attack. But he could not confirm whether all 6 occupants of the gun truck, including a colonel, were killed, as claimed by sources in the community. Also, sources at the Maiduguri Specialist Hospital told Channels Television that 3 wounded civilians caught in the crossfire were brought in from Jakana, one of whom died, having lost much blood. Meanwhile, in a related development, this time in Sokoto State, suspected armed bandits have killed over 20 persons in Dansako village in Goronyo local government area. A source in the local government says the assailants arrived the village at night, armed with sophisticated weapons, and started shooting sporadically. He says apart from the 20 killed, houses and other property were destroyed by the bandits. He explains that survivors of the attack fled the village to seek refuge in nearby communities within Goronyo and Isa local government areas of Sokoto State. The Sokoto State Police Public Relations Officer Muhammad Sadiq, who also confirmed the attack to Channels Television, says the casualty figure is yet to be ascertained. And while the security situation in the country continues to generate concerns, the Ooni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, is raising an alarm over the security challenges facing the southwest region, and he says the region does not want war. The Ooni, who was speaking on behalf of other traditional rulers in the region, noted that the security challenges are real, as most rural communities have been occupied by strange people. He explains that the traditional leaders are worried and are prepared to work with the government as they called for a reinforcement of federal might to defend themselves from people he describes as bad eggs. He was speaking after a meeting with the president at the State House in Abuja.
Oh, fine. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Thank you. I'm all right.
So I'm here, and I had a discussion that is very fruitful with Mr. President about what we all know, the security situation in the country. We made him to know that the issue at hand in Southwest is real. The issue of insecurity, we that we live particularly in the remote and rural areas of the southwestern part of the country, most of those bushes and those forests are being occupied by strange people, and we've decided to take it upon ourselves to try as much as possible to work with the government to fish them out. Why I'm here again is everybody is drumming the drum of war. We don't want war. We don't want war. Who can stand war? We want something better for our youth. We should better use them for something good other than shouting war and anarchy. We don't want that. And to the glory of God, we told Mr. President that, and he's on the same page with us. Mr. President has actually given good directives with all the security chiefs, especially the IG. They will visit each and every traditional rulers' palaces that are very sensitive in Southwest. With immediate effect, he's going to give that directive. We need to work very closely with them and every other security agencies.
Now, in other peace initiatives, while the Ruga settlement program of the federal government remains suspended, the Kano state government is planning to begin the process to settle Fulani herdsmen in the state. Governor Abdullahi Ganduje says the idea will go a long way towards the provision of grazing areas, not only for the Fulani people in Kano, but in the entire country. Under the state Ruga settlement project, Governor Ganduje says schools, housing, hospitals, grazing reserves, artificial insemination centers, among other social amenities, will be provided to the Fulani herdsmen. He was speaking at the inauguration of the State Ruga Settlement Committee in Kano.
Territorial mobility and its attendant.
Production of master plan, the Ruga settlement, a whole master plan, town plan. determine the type of social services and infrastructure to be provided in the Ruga settlement, e.g. veterinary hospital, veterinary clinics, provision of water, provision of schools, markets, etc. And also looking at the whole system. It is more of socio-cultural rather socio-economic. And it has to change to socio-economic. Otherwise, it will continue to be an economic venture. So in Kano State, having looked at all the issues concerned, both at national and state level, we decided to create Ruga settlements in our forests that are existing, and with the help of Islamic Development Bank, grazing areas will be provided.
And staying with security matters, former President Goodluck Jonathan and the Anglican Primate Reverend Nicholas Oko are calling for strong collaboration with the government to solve the nation's deteriorating security situation. The former president and the cleric made the call at a book presentation and launch of Reverend Nicholas Oko's foundation in Abuja. According to them, there is an urgent need for political elite and citizens to collaborate and solve the worsening security situation in the country instead of resorting to self-protection.
It's a gathering of Anglican clergymen, politicians and friends of the Anglican Primate, Reverend Nicholas Oko, at the official presentation of the book, It's Not By Might, and the launch of the Nicholas Oko's Foundation in Abuja. The book reviewer highlights some of the salient content of the publication.
Not by might nor by power is a book written to ginger those who hate or do not love God or their neighbor, to love God and their neighbor.
The 662 pages book also contains lessons about how good citizens should behave. On the sideline of the event, however, both former President Jonathan and the Anglican Primate called for a stronger collaboration between government and citizens to solve the nation's security problems.
Collectively, we must see how we'll resolve this crisis. Insecurity has been with us for long, though we know sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. I believe that whatever is the challenges we have now would be subdued.
Individuals should not take security initiatives, because if we take our own security initiatives, by which I mean that we organize our own militias, the country will be destroyed. Everybody will perish. But the government that has the constitutional responsibility to maintain security should do so, and quickly too.
The primate also stressed the need for clergymen to speak truth to power.
If you believe that your ministry is to represent God, God does not lie. Even the person you are speaking to, the big authority, he will realize that you are lying.
Elected as the Anglican Primate in 2010, Nicholas Oko had served the Anglican Church in that capacity for 9 years. As he prepares for his retirement, many of his admirers believe that those in leadership position should emulate his humility, frankness and dedication to service.
And President Muhammadu Buhari is also intensifying efforts to solve the security situations in the country and on the African continent. Now, he's asking African intelligence agencies to develop strategies to stem illicit financial outflows from the continent and ensure that terrorists are denied access to financial systems of governments. The president explains that African countries have lost over $60 billion annually owing to illicit financial outflows, a staggering amount, he notes, for a continent in dire need of developmental finance. Our correspondent Gloria Umezoke reports.
It's the 16th ordinary session of the Committee of Intelligence and Security Services of Africa, CISA, attended by President Muhammadu Buhari, who will officially open the event.
On behalf of the Committee of the Intelligence Service of
African intelligence agencies from 52 countries converged on the nation's capital as the incoming chairperson of CISA addresses over 300 delegates.
Illicit outflows from Africa, therefore, constitute an existential threat to the continent, which no amount of foreign assistance can undo. Sadly, Africa's Agenda 2063, including its flagship project of silencing the guns by 2020, would be significantly impaired except leakages through illicit financial outflows are blocked.
The African Union Commission bemoans existing gaps in security operations across the continent in the face of growing sophistication of terrorist equipments.
A recent study has indicated that our security efforts have been focused too much on protecting the state and less on protecting population, pushing them into the arms of local militia or even terrorist organizations. In this regard, I would like to take this opportunity to call on our member states to pay closer attention to the increased interferences from external actors.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who is also recognized as the anti-corruption champion of the African Union, calls for more action to curb illicit funds.
African countries lose over 60 billion United States dollars annually due to illicit financial outflows, a staggering amount for a continent in dire need of developmental finance. I therefore urge you to develop a temple of risk factors and actionable strategies to stem the flow of illicit funds from our continent.
The Committee of Intelligence and Security Services of Africa was established in 2004 in Abuja. After 16 years, the President commissions the National Intelligence Agency Conference Center, renamed after him.
But this is one conference among many geared towards achieving peace and security. Member countries here have expressed determination to collaborate without compromising values to achieve sustainable stability on the continent. From the Muhammadu Buhari Conference Center here in the NIA, Abuja, Gloria Umezike, Channels Television News.